Join the conversation with the Morning Majlis, Pulse 95.
Yes, text us at 4215 to join the discussion. We're talking about the swearing in of President Joe Biden. His inauguration was yesterday, and it looked very different from past ceremonies to usher in a new administration. There is, after all, an immensely heightened security in Washington, D.C., following the riots that took place a couple weeks ago. There's also a swirling pandemic, and another notable aspect is the fact that outgoing President, or former now President Trump, was not present at the ceremony, and that's the first time that's happened in more than a century and a half. So some of the moments from yesterday include former President Donald Trump not attending Biden's swearing-in ceremony, but hosting his own farewell speech. Told reporters at the White House it was a great honor to serve as the 45th president of the United States before saying goodbye. He also spoke at Joint Base Andrews before heading to Florida and wished the incoming Biden administration, quote, great luck, though he did not name Biden by name. Meanwhile, Biden arrived at the U.S. Capitol for the inauguration. He greeted his predecessor and former boss, former President Barack Obama, on his way to his seat. He received a lengthy ovation from those who gathered on the stage and sat down. Another notable moment was Kamala Harris, now vice president, sharing a double fist bump with Barack Obama. A gesture that carries symbolic weight, as Obama and Harris made history as the first African Americans to serve as president and vice president, respectively.
That's right. And he wasted no time. He got to work right away. He starts signing several actions in front of reporters in the Oval Office on Wednesday afternoon. He said there was no time to waste in issuing the executive orders, memorandums, and also directives. He said some of the executive actions I'm going to be signing today are going to help change the course of the COVID crisis. We're going to combat climate change in a way that we haven't done so far, and also advance racial equity and support other underserved communities. And there are just all starting points. There's so much that happened. He signed so many documents. He signed a document to begin the process of re-entering the Paris Climate Accord and issued a sweeping order tackling climate change, including revoking the presidential permit granted to the contentious Keystone XL oil pipeline. Among a raft of orders addressing immigration, Biden also revoked Trump's emergency declaration that helped fund the construction of a border wall and also ended a travel ban on some Muslim majority countries. So the day one plans were just the start of a flurry of executive actions Biden would take soon after entering office, and that is what it seems.
Now it's going to be very interesting to see what happens next, because obviously he's done the executive orders. Yes, we've got the big celebration of Kamala Harris becoming the first female vice president and first black and even South Asian vice president. Now, when Donald Trump was inaugurated as president, his first foreign trip was to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Where will Joe Biden chase? Any guesses?
Saudi Arabia.
Do you reckon?
Maybe.
I have a feeling it might be the UK. UK, maybe France, maybe Mexico, maybe next door, maybe Canada. Trudeau and him, maybe.
Yeah, well, Boris Johnson did express some delight welcoming Biden, and he sort of gave a coded criticism of the Trump era as well. Boris Johnson said, in fact, that it's a fantastic thing that Biden was elected for a country which has been through a bumpy period, describing Donald Trump's administration, the period with which they oversaw the United States policy as well.
But they were best friends when they first got into power, both of them. They just came across as the pals. And, well, look, it was a very different inauguration. I was watching the television yesterday, and I was watching On America or On Time America. That's a channel. There's a TV channel. And the other channel was Euronews or BBC or wherever. You flick the channels, the On America, they were talking about the legacy left behind by Donald Trump. There was no coverage whatsoever of the inauguration. And of course, Euronews, BBC, CNNs and RT and whatever channel, they were all focusing on the inauguration, just seemed like a different vibe. And I'm looking at the footage as well. I liked how when Kamala Harris and Joe Biden were walking down to the Capitol, they interacted with the press. They walked over to some of the journalists they knew. They interacted with them, had a casual conversation, and then made their way up to the Capitol for the inauguration. So that was quite refreshing to see. But Barack Obama also posted on his social media. He said that today we watched a new president take his oath and usher in, look at this, a renewal of our democracy. Oh. Very strong words over there.
Yeah.
Very, very strong.
Yeah, and let's listen into some of the key things that the new president-elect had been talking about. Let's listen in.
With the sacred oath, before God and all of you, I give you my word. I will always level with you. I will defend the Constitution. I'll defend our democracy. I'll defend America. And I'll give all of you, keep everything I do in your service, thinking not of power, but of possibilities, not of personal interest, but the public good. And together we shall write an American story of hope, not fear, of unity, not division, of light, not darkness, a story of decency and dignity, love and healing, greatness and goodness. May this be the story that guides us, the story that inspires us, and the story that tells ages yet to come that we answered the call of history. We met the moment. Democracy and hope, truth and justice did not die on our watch but thrived. That America secured liberty at home and stood once again as a beacon to the world. That is what we owe our forebears, one another, and generation to follow. So, with purpose and resolve, we turn to those tasks of our time, sustained by faith, driven by conviction, and devoted to one another and the country we love with all our hearts. May God bless America, and may God protect our troops. Thank you, America.
So yeah, what a way to end it. And it's incredible how presidents suddenly have a different energy when they've been inaugurated. This delivery and of speech has a different base to it, a different vibe, and a different sort of inspirational mode that just switches on. And the thing is about Joe Biden's speech is quite significant because obviously he's had speech difficulties, right? Mm-hmm. And for a person it was a very different Joe Biden that we've seen, and a very well delivered speech, and really got everyone motivated and excited for it. And of course, a very different setting. Instead of general public, there were 200,000 flags that he was addressing in front of him, but a brilliant occasion, and I think a very, very historical one for sure.
Yeah, indeed, and pretty much a star-studded inauguration as well. I mean, we've had some performances by notable artists, including Jennifer Lopez and Lady Gaga, and also Amanda Gorman, the nation's first ever youth poet laureate, who delivered a poem in which she called for Americans to, quote, leave behind a country better than the one we were left, and called for unity. Speaking of unity, former Vice President Mike Pence was present at the ceremony, was met with a bipartisan applause when he and his wife, Karen Pence, walked out onto the inaugural stands and shared a laugh with the incoming Harris and Imhoff, the Vice President, and her husband as well. So it's a good thing that he was present at the ceremony.
Yeah, it was. I think it was a very big surprise as well, wasn't it? But now, for the outgoing president, it is going to be difficult times for sure. But without mocking or anything, I mean, he did serve his part and he played his role as the president of the United States. So we leave him with a little bit of musical entertainment, a song dedicated to good old ex-POTUS or former POTUS. So this is how we leave you with this segment.
Join the conversation with the Morning Majlis, Pulse 95.
Yep, join the conversation with the Morning Majlis. Welcome back. And yes, a lot of people are encouraging us and asking us to do a bit of an awareness drive, asking drivers today to avoid using their high beams. It is all about using your fog lights. If you don't know how to switch on your fog lights, it is usually by the trigger that you use for your windscreen wipers, or even for switching your headlights on. If it's one of the older models, or if it's one of those American cars, you've got a bit of a knob right next to your air conditioning vents. Now you have to make sure that the fog lights are specific lights that you switch on for these conditions. They are low beam, but they are focusing more on the ground as opposed to directly into the fog, because when you're directly focusing on the fog, it reflects and it affects your vision and the people in front of you. So make sure you switch the fog lights on, which has a bit of a headlights icon, and then it has 3 waves in front of it, and click on that, and that is the lights you should be using when you are driving in the fog, as opposed to using hazard lights. That's such an old school thing to do, and it's nothing useful. It's not useful at all for other drivers, so make sure you're only using your fog lights, slow down, and you're safe as well. Speaking of driving, how about you just drive in and get a vaccine done? Why? Because something's coming up soon.
Yes, that's right. The Department of Health in Abu Dhabi said they would launch a drive-through service for people looking to take the jab soon. In a press note released by WAM, the news agency here in the country said the move is being undertaken as part of the UAE's nationwide campaign to get at least half the population vaccinated by the end of March. Now, the Department of Health will provide a number of centers, including drive-through services, with COVID-19 vaccines being provided in a drive-through manner outside of Abu Dhabi as well. These will be operated by Abu Dhabi Healthcare Services Siha and will increase the number of locations where COVID-19 vaccines are available across the country to 100 to 218.
Yep, and of course, an extensive campaign has been launched by multiple departments to offer the vaccination for senior citizens, and they are being done at a specific time period. And we've seen that in major authorities, the CDA Ministry, Community Development Authority Ministry. They've been doing those vaccination campaigns, and look, vaccination centres here in the Emirate of Sharjah, lots of them have sprung up, and we've also seen Sharjah Social Services Department, in fact, going to people's homes and vaccinating the people as well. So it is a responsibility for many of us to get rid of the pandemic, and you know, once you feel a bit more comfortable enough and you're okay with taking that vaccine, then do so. Apart from that, companies are encouraging you to take the vaccine based on new requirements that you have to conduct the PCR tests on a regular basis. And the factor is, look, we've been facing these highest number of cases, daily increase as well, 3,500 yesterday. So it's just a reality that we're facing, that the pandemic isn't over yet, and it is all down to us being responsible. And of course, even after we take the vaccine, that doesn't mean that you're 100% safe and you're okay to go stop wearing your face masks. No, you're still meant to follow the same protocols, because you could carry that virus and affect those that really do not need to be affected, because they won't be able to take it on.
That's right. And this vaccination drive will definitely support ongoing efforts to strengthen immunity within the community and also maintain health and safety. And according to Chairman of the Department of Health, Sheikh Abdullah Al-Hamid in Abu Dhabi, he said the COVID-19 vaccines have undergone rigorous scientific and regulatory processes to ensure their safety, efficacy, and also quality. So he's saying that I encourage everyone to choose to vaccinate without hesitation to protect themselves and the health of our nation. And as of actually January 19th, as of 2 days ago, more than 2 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines have been administered in the UAE, with the vaccine distribution rate at 20.88 per 100 people. That's almost 21% of the population.
It's definitely major.
Incredible. We're getting there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And while the vaccine is optional, it is strongly encouraged across the country as well. And to give examples of how it's being pushed, government employees in Abu Dhabi who choose not to take one of the vaccines are required to take a PCR test every 2 weeks as well. Now, looking at the vaccine candidates, so we've got the Sinopharm vaccine. Its developers say its vaccine is 86% effective. There's also the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine offered in Dubai, found to be 95% effective as well. And we've seen images across the board of this country's leaders tweeting and posting pictures of themselves getting these vaccine shots as well. So there's a lot of encouragement, a lot of optimism as well that we could beat this coronavirus by getting as many vaccines across the board as possible and encouraging our friends and loved ones to take it. So if you are still somewhat skeptical about the vaccine, we've had numerous discussions about it. We've even spoken to people from Sinopharm. Check out our podcast on Spotify, SoundCloud, and Apple Podcast. Type in The Morning Majlis.
Yep, that's where you can listen in and listen to what we have to say as well, because yesterday we did have the discussion after my first day of being inoculated and getting that vaccine with Sinopharm, courtesy of Sharjah Broadcasting Authority for doing that vaccine drive here in our own offices. For now, let's take a bit of a breather. Let's take a bit of a break, and we shall return right after the sports headlines, and we'll continue the discussions from there on. Stay tuned. This is the Morning Majlis on Pulse 95.
95. The Morning Majlis, talking the stories that are shaping headlines. This is Pulse 95.
Well, China is rushing to build a massive quarantine camp that can house more than 4,000 people. Of course, after an outbreak of COVID-19 this month that has left tens of millions of people under strict lockdown. So the quarantine camp is located on the outskirts of... help me out, Ahmed. I can't say it.
The outskirts of Shijiazhuang.
There you go. It's the provincial capital of Hebei
China
province.
correspondent.
Yeah, he is, definitely. It surrounds the country's capital of Beijing. Now, China has largely contained the spread of the virus, with much of the country returning to normal. However, a sudden rise in cases has alarmed officials and raised concerns ahead of the Lunar New Year, the country's most important annual festival, during which hundreds of millions of people are expected to travel to visit family members.
That's right. And officials in Shijiazhuang, where the outbreak is centered, have initiated mass testing and strict lockdowns, moving entire villages to centralized quarantine facilities in a bid to prevent the spread of COVID-19. This new quarantine camp will house close contacts of confirmed COVID-19 patients as authorities continue an extensive contact tracing and testing program. And authorities are also essentially curbing on a new surge of COVID-19 infections. Recently, the country reported 103 new confirmed cases and 58 asymptomatic infections, which are counted separately, spread out across 4 provinces. Hebei province now has a total of 818 active locally transmitted cases and more than 200 asymptomatic infections. And authorities in China are attributing this surge in new COVID-19 cases to imported cases as well, plus some frozen food contamination. And they're not just building quarantine camps, they're also building hospitals. They're in fact building 6 hospitals in south of Beijing, one of whom has 6,500 rooms as well. So they are in a rush to try and curb this latest surge in infections. You're never really done with coronavirus. Always comes back and
Definitely
always poses a major threat.
Yeah,
a bit of a cyclical effect, isn't it? Because this is the time when it started, and China, of course, is slightly concerned because there's the country is expected to attract a lot of tourists, a lot of visitors, and there's going to be a lot of movement of people for the Lunar New Year. And we've also seen in Shijiazhuang area, this is what's going on. They've actually been doing roadside testing. So there's some villages that are emerging. So instead of having just a drive-through centres or just a dedicated COVID-19 testing centre, they've placed these testing units on the streets, and people queue up and get themselves tested. And learning from the Chinese experience as well. Another major point to note is that at the start of the epidemic, back then when it was just an epidemic in January, they built their field hospitals very quickly. They converted the stadiums, the event halls, the exhibition centres. In a matter of days, they were converted into big hospital beds and a field hospital. Now we're seeing a dedicated quarantine centre being created for 4,000 people. Originally, it was just designed for 3,000, but they extended the capacity to have more than 4,000. And these are the precautionary steps that they're taking at the Hebei province in particular. They're now urging residents to stay home Officials sent to urban and rural areas to enforce measures and ensure people aren't even traveling across the province and into Beijing. Beijing authorities have stepped up their testing and screening efforts. And in the northern East Jilin province, 102 cases have been linked to the so-called super spreader. And he was a salesman who traveled from his home province of Heilongjiang. And that's just been a bit of a worrisome development from China.
That's right. And meanwhile, researchers sent by the World Health Organization are in Wuhan preparing to investigate the origins of the virus. The team is under a 2-week quarantine, but is due to talk to Chinese experts by video link. And it'll be interesting to see what their findings might be on the origin of the disease, which some in the Chinese government posited might have originated abroad as well. So they said it might be through frozen fish, in fact. But of course, there's a lot of discussion about whether or not that is the case. And that's what the probe here is for, to investigate the origins of the coronavirus.
Well, stay with us on the Morning Majlis. We are going to take a bit of a breather, and if you'd like to be part of our celebrations here in the Emirate of Sharjah for the farmers' markets, do let us know on the text lines 4215, because we will be down there from 4 p.m. It'll be live on Friday, so if you want to tune in and soak in the atmosphere, you can do so. And 3 p.m. is when we'll be down there for sure. The market kicks off at 3 till 8. It's the first farmers markets in the Emirate of Sharjah. It will happen every week. It's called Munbath, and we're going to be down there. So if you'd like to catch us, myself and Hani Balkis, then do come on down and say hello. And I would love to get you a chance to win those food vouchers that we'll be handing out tomorrow. Stay with us on the Morning Majlis. Up next, we'll talk about the Sharjah Art Foundation's new residency program, and we'll continue the discussions from there on. This is the Morning Majlis on Pulse 95.
Pulse 95.
The Morning Majlis, talking the stories that are shaping headlines. This is Pulse 95.
This is Pulse 95, and a very warm welcome back onto the program. We've got the all-important Sharjah Media City's influencer program. They signed an agreement with Omnis Media, and they've launched the Omnis Influencers program, and it's in its trial stages. The platform is aiming to help companies connect with influencers, promote the products and services, achieve the desired results, all within a specific budget and timeline. These companies will also benefit from a growing online market, which is witnessing a compound annual growth rate of 32%. If any company would like to hire us with our humble 200 followers, 300 followers on our Instagram, we're more than happy to help you out. You know, they're genuine followers, 1,000 followers so far.
They're organic followers.
Organic followers.
High engagement.
High engagement indeed. But yeah, not to worry. But this is something that is out there as well. And His Excellency Dr. Khalid Umar Al-Midfa, Chairman of Sharjah Media City, had a statement to release.
He did. He said, according to our studies and research, the global marketing industry through influencers is witnessing tremendous growth and is expected to reach more than $24 billion in less than 5 years. This indicates that there are endless opportunities for influencers and advertisers as well. He continued by saying, this research and information we found sparked the idea of designing and developing this digital platform, Omnis Influencers, in order to effectively contribute to presenting a new generation of influencers into the world of social and digital media. Now, these influencers are characterized by their vitality and activity, and also effectiveness based on their various skills, capabilities, experiences, and also qualifications. So he said, we are fully confident that the Omnis Influencers platform, which has been developed with precision and care, will contribute to redrawing the features of the communication industry and have a positive impact in all sectors of work and marketing.
Yes, and the Omnis platform relies on 3 main pillars, which are attracting influencers, developing their talent, and promoting those influencers. And the platform works to enhance the adoption of influencer-based marketing, such as shifting customers to video-based content on social media channels and increasing the adoption of ad blocking programs. And according to the CEO of Omnis Media, Fahad Adib, he said the Omnis Influencers platform is an effective tool for institutions and companies to communicate with a wide range of influencers across the country. They also cited studies indicating that over the past years, there's been a growth in influencer-based marketing, particularly micro-influencers, where more than half of the marketers surveyed during a study said they plan to increase the budgets allocated to influencers by a whopping 77%, with the largest percentage of these budgets directed towards smaller influencers. Adib also added that even those with fewer than 5,000 followers can be considered smart investments for businesses. And he called on influencers to register on the Omnis Influencer program to enhance their presence and popularity and increase their chances of getting some pretty decent income.
Yep, and look, it's a big thing. We are in this big debate if it's a right, if this is the new advertising tool. I think social media has allowed these characters, individuals, to become mini celebrities of the micro celebrities. It's in one sense, it's a good thing. I'd say it has given people an option to earn. That's very, very important. Okay. What's wrong, I would say, is there's morals and ethics that can get involved. Of course, the government has started having these regulations that, sharing of the income and regulated income, so it's not extraordinary, charging whatever, 40,000 or whatever for following. Every restaurant is now relying on their own social media platform to build up. If they invite these so-called influential, popular people to eat at their restaurants, it's great.
Yeah.
But sometimes these influencers charge a ridiculous amount for a struggling restaurant to be there. That's where the ethics can go wrong. Okay, if you have a 20,000 following, if you do some form of a barter deal, hey, come on down, have a meal with your friends, and then we'll give you a promo code under your name so that whoever watches your stories can come down, gets a 10%, 15% discount. Understandable. A very popular person is Sharjah Live over here in the Emirate of Sharjah. And, I do follow those pages, and I find out restaurants. I think I find out more about restaurants in the Emirate of Sharjah through watching these platforms. It makes sense.
This is an important topic to talk about and digest a little bit and debate on. It's funny because the Pulse 95 team here in the office, they always influence me to change my account and my social media accounts, especially on Instagram, because mine is private till now. And they're influencing me to make it public.
Okay.
But the thing is that, from my point of view, there's so many influencers out there, number one. Number two, what is the content you're going to add that hasn't been seen or done or said that's going to add value to the viewer other than how are you going to stand out? Is it just because of the way you look, or is it because of the topics that you...
Look, if anyone wants to follow what's in and out in Sharjah, of course, follow ourselves here. I'll tell you all about
We
it.
have good content on Pulse 95 Radio, Instagram. We have a variety of topics, and we have a variety of shows. Each show is directed in a way,
Right.
In a different way. So that's something that is fruitful. That is a fruitful account to follow. Not because I'm part of it, not because I work for Pulse 95 Radio, but because of the variety of topics that we dissect here. But the thing is that if you want to be an influencer, from my point of view, what is the added value that you're going to add to the viewer or to the follower? How are you going to stand out from the rest of them? Because I feel like nowadays everyone wants to become a public figure. Everyone wants to become an influencer.
Doing it for the gram.
Everyone, and what really bothers me personally is the fact that many people, they just depend on, or for example, for me as a female, when I follow other females, most of them, or like try to view their accounts, most of them, they just rely on getting dressed nicely.
Right.
And that's it.
Yeah, I mean,
There's more to any female than just being dressed nicely.
Definitely, there's a lot to it, and you'll find that. I mean, not everyone who gets successful is the same way, but a lot of people, a lot of people who do get successful, they, in some way or another, they're knowledgeable about what they do. I mean, for instance, I follow one particular influencer, and he's a musician, and he's pretty transparent. So when he gets sent these weird gadgets or instruments, he says, "Okay, this is a sponsored post." But I like the way that he reviews those instruments and plays with them and ultimately you get an entertaining video out of it. So there are influencers who would just go there, show up for a free meal, and lie about the food, and they clearly don't have. They're not being authentic about it. But then you'll have others who are pretty knowledgeable about food, who are passionate about it, and they'll describe the food in a pretty colorful way, and they'll be funny and entertaining while they're doing it. So it's a bit of both as well.
Yeah.
You'll find the good and the bad of the token in both sides.
For sure. Well, it's just opened up more avenues for income, which is always good. And shout out to the Sharjah Media City team for allowing and also leading towards this creation of the Omnis influencers.
We should have a debate on this another, like maybe next week.
Yeah, why not next week?
On being a public figure and an influencer.
It's an interesting subject. Yeah.
It's a very interesting subject. We should do this, Abdul Karim and Ahmed. What do you guys think?
Okay,
Next week, we'll talk about
Let's
this.
bring in the influencers and grill
we'll
them.
bring in an
Like, hey,
influencer
how
or
did
something.
how did you get your blue tick? I
Yeah.
want that blue tick too. Well, all of this can be
It's all about the
discussed.
blue tick.
Of course. Well, stay with us in the Morning Majlis. Up next, we shall be concluding the show with the big hype again, because if you want to win some prizes with Pulse 95 Radio, we're influentially influential. There we go. We're going to keep you, help you win some prizes for sure. Tomorrow afternoon, 4 to 6 p.m. is our show live from Al Jada. But for now, we'll give you more information about it as well. So stay tuned to Pulse 95 and how you can win 500 dirhams worth of food vouchers with the Morning Majlis. Stay tuned to Pulse 95.
Pulse 95.
Between local lines. Notes from the Emirate.
Well, a new farmers market called Manbat has just been announced by Arada, showcasing the very best in fresh and local produce at the popular Al Jada. Now, it will take place every Friday, starting from tomorrow, from 3 p.m. until 8 p.m. every Friday. Now, expect 30 on-site stalls featuring farmers, entrepreneurs, suppliers, and food beverage outlets as well. And kids will be able to enjoy the soft play area and also skate park. And if you want to satisfy those hunger pangs, head to Zad, which is a very popular food truck village that is located in Al Jada as well. So tomorrow it is, and it will be at Manbat, Muelih District, New Sharjah, Al Jada. It will be every Friday from January 22nd, 3 p.m. until 8 p.m. So be there. And the icing on the cake, as they say, is that Abdul Karim and Hani Balqis will be there, representing Pulse 95 and also covering the inauguration.
It is, and if you are one of those who has a busy agenda, can't make it down there, well, stay tuned. Tune in to Pulse 95. 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. is our live broadcast from there. And look, Manbat, it's not just a place to have fun and have a great time and win vouchers with Pulse 95. It's very important to understand. There's around 40,000 farms in the United Arab Emirates. There's a high percentage of these that are in Sharjah. So it's a large industry and very, very, very much Emirati owned. Now, Manbat itself will help farmers how to become entrepreneurs, not just food producers. They learn how to market and sell their products, as well as other fundamentals of running a business. Al Jada has partnered with the Ministry of Climate Change and Environment, and this to bring Manbat to 2 locations. There's one also in the Point and Palm Jumeirah. This one's going to be happening, but this concept is being created in Sharjah, being successfully rolled out across the UAE. So Manbat is going to be a homegrown Sharjah product and event, and we're down there tomorrow. So if you are hoping to catch up and want to meet some of the presenters of Pulse 95, come on down tomorrow, 4 to 6 p.m. We're live. We're giving away some prizes, and thank you all for whoever texted us this morning to win that Majlis Wasta, to win those vouchers tomorrow.
Not only that, but families visiting Manbat tomorrow will also be able to view a rally of vintage and classic cars arranged by Sharjah Old Cars Club. So the rally will begin at the Sharjah Old Cars Club at 3:30, and then we'll proceed to Al Jada afterwards. So much to see.
Absolutely. There'll be 30 on-site stalls with a wide range of produce grown by local farmers here. Entrepreneurs, suppliers, and F&B outlets will also have a presence, including Spinneys, Manbat's official retail partner. Spinneys personnel will always be available for discussions with the farmers as part of the Supermarket Giants program to support micro food and beverage businesses in the UAE. Should be a fun day out for the family. And of course, we'll be there for you all the way.
Yep, of course. We're going to be there for you indeed, and we'll keep you posted as well throughout the day in terms of what can happen. Honey Balkis will be live today at 2 p.m. and he'll also be bringing the hype up for the Manbat Farmers Market tomorrow. Come on down, have some fun, musical atmosphere, lots of sunshine hopefully tomorrow, no foggy conditions, barbecue, lots of food to enjoy, and really final few days of the winter. Let me be a villain today.
No,
Final few
don't say
days.
that.
It's getting hot out there now. It's foggy, you know. You never know.
No, it's still bearable.
Okay,
Very
let's,
nice.
let's keep the winter here, shall we? So let's keep ourselves warm and comfy. Tomorrow's 2 movies as well being played at Al Jada. It is going to be Night at the Museum.
Very busy day for Al Jada tomorrow.
Very busy day indeed.
Yeah.
Well, stay with us on the Morning Majlis. We'll be back. Oh, stay with us on Pulse 95. More shows coming up for you and lots of musical entertainment. For now, let's say goodbye, and we'll be back again bright and early Friday afternoon, 4 to 6. Balkis and myself with the future Majlis Manbath.
If you liked this episode of The Morning Majlis, drop a like and subscribe.
95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.
Pulse